Hello and welcome to NASA North Dechinta edition. My name is Siku Allooloo.
And my name is Asinnajaq.
And we are happy to share a discussion that is close to both of our hearts with you today. We are going to be talking about the importance of our Inuit values in guiding how we work together and how we support one another as artists.
Yes, precisely.
And we wanted to start by just sharing how we met. Should I go first, or would you like to go first?
I'll go first. First, I'll say a little bit about myself. So my name is Asinnajaq, and I'm a urban Inuk based in Truthout, but from Qaumajuq-Winnipeg. And I've had the pleasure over the past couple of years to get to travel the world and see tons of art and artists and films and meet people and all of that because my community supports me and I support them, and I hope. And it's been really amazing to have a wide open world.
I totally forgot about introducing ourselves. My name is Siku Allooloo, and I'm Inuk on my dad's side, who's from Nunavut, and I'm Haitian and Taíno on my mom's side, who was from Haiti, Quisqueya. And I was born and raised in the Northwest Territories in Denendeh. I've been involved with Dechinta since 2010. I was part of the pilot semester as a student, and I've joined various semesters over the years in both NWT and Yukon as a facilitator with other semesters. So it's really a wonderful joy to be part of Dechinta in an ongoing way, and to be able to host a discussion that's really about our values as Northern artists is so important to me and informs everything I do, and I know it really informs everything that Asinnajaq that you do, how you create, how you hold space and create more space, and do it all in a really grounded, loving way. It's really like an embodiment of our values, and I feel it and I see it really clearly with you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. I think that I remember before I got to meet you, I read some stories that you wrote online, and I wanted to read more and more of them. So I had to Google your name and be like, where are the more stories at? Because it was amazing to read. I grew up reading, love creative writing, and it was the first time when I got to read something that was interesting to me, writing wise, and also so interesting content wise. And it was huge doors crashing open, all of the things I love can live together.
I didn't know that you read those before we met.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. So we both met each other through our creations first, because before we met, I first met your installation at what was Insurgents
Research.
Yeah, at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. I was actually there for Dechinta to talk about our land-based programming. But I saw this installation where there was a film being screened and a bench that had seal skin, 2 seal skins there that you could sit on. And I was like, oh, this seems like a comfortable place. This is so nice. And then I watched your film and was so just like amazed. I had a similar experience. It just really spoke to me and had all these elements that I love. Felt also like a similar inner voice, the way that you were sharing. And you had a booklet that was about your journey of getting your facial tattoos. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but your poetry in there, speaking about it, was a lot like a dream that I had years ago about getting facial tattoos. But it was like way, way, way back in time. It was like I almost haven't really told anybody about that dream.
Wow.
But when I read your poetry, yeah, a lot of affinity and kinship with you before we even met.
Yes. And the meeting was a dream. So that's where the journey began.
Yeah, so that was 5 years ago in Winnipeg, and here we are today. In the in-between time, Asinnajaq has been a very important part of my journey as a emerging artist, or emerging into different ways and different forms. And I've just gotten to see so many different ways that you help. You basically transform space to make more space. It's like a very expansive impact that you have, from being one of the curators with INUA, and just welcoming so much Inuit genius and brilliance, and letting everything be there in a way that relates to time. It's like open to all time, back and forward and here. And I think you have a very interesting relationship to time. And I've never asked you about it, but I'm curious to know, for you, how does time intersect with your values?
I think, thank you for all the beautiful compliments. I think when it comes to time, I learned a long time ago to take like many steps back from the heat of the moment, and to look at things from many angles. And so I think, to me, that has everything to do with time, and that basically the whole, like, we're a part of a cosmos, and time is like so long, and everything passes. And also everything is cyclical. So I think it's like this combination of the two, like everything comes back around, and also everything is little and big at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah. Hopefully that means something.
Yeah, it does actually, because I think it really connects to something else that we talk about for those who maybe are not so familiar with our other iterations of our discussion that have taken place at least 2 other points in time with other panels. But Asinnajaq and I have an ongoing discussion that started 5 years ago that's really about aligning our common purpose and supporting one another. I really feel connected to our Inuit Qaumajuq-Winnipeg values together. like being open and respectful and inclusive, and doing things by consensus, and just really being innovative and respecting each other, but also way more expanded notions of what's part of us. So where we come from, who we come from, the greater world of where we fit in relation to our art relatives, and just the world and the cosmos, like you're saying, that expanded notion of time and connection.
Yeah.
For me, also, one of the most valuable things about our relationship is you really have given me so much space and support to not only be an Inuk, but also to bring all parts of who I am with me. And you've never withheld your support or only included me for things that were supposed to be for Inuit. If I was focusing in one art piece about my Haitian Taíno side. So I think that's really important, and that's pretty rare, I think, for just for the context of Indigenous art. I think a lot of time gets really focused on essentializing just like one culture, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it has been a really interesting past couple of years realizing how essentialism in so many forms becomes the thing that artists have to fight against and spend time in their art practice when they could just be making amazing art, fighting against something important, like fighting against the frameworks of labeling that we've created. It seems silly, like, for example, Inuit, we fight against what Inuit art is made to be, how it feels like it limits a lot of artists. And I think we've done a lot of amazing job changing that just by making the art we want to make, regardless of if it's like looks like what Inuit art is supposed to be. But then there is this other, that's like one level. Then the other level is like, if you want to talk about something that's not necessarily Inuk, but it's always grounded in your values and in yourself. But if it looks a different way or doesn't have some kind of element, it's still not really accepted. And I understand that we have to protect our culture and take care of it. We also have to protect each other and let each other flourish. And it's definitely a careful balancing act, but that's what the big realization was. If I accept you here and I don't accept you there, then I'm in fact telling you behind the scenes, not in my words, but I'm telling you in a way that our hearts can understand that what you're presenting isn't good enough, isn't okay. It's not what I want to see. Like, that part of you is not accepted. And I don't want to send that message. That's like really trying to pay attention now and be careful about the message that we all send when we like act in a way, small or large, that shows our relatives that whatever their background, their interest, whatever it is, their sexuality, telling them that they're not accepted.
No, to me, that seems really like a fundamental part of our values is that openness. But somehow, I think the understanding of that in a modern context gets really rigid. So I think that's really important. Like, to me, one of the things I love most about Inuit culture is just how playful and innovative it is, with so many different kinds of things, like repurposing things to our own uses and context in ways that nobody ever imagined before, but Inuit have. And like, I always think of that film, Starting Fire with Gunpowder. Did you see that one?
I think you told me about it last time when we talked.
Yeah.
I had
I
it on
love
my
that.
browser. I need to finish watching
You
it.
got to watch it.
Yeah.
Essentially, it uses a metaphor of when gunpowder came to Nunavut. Inuit used it to start fires, to like keep warm and cook things, like which I love. And so, like, I think it makes complete sense and is totally carries forward our cultural integrity to be more expansive in our understanding of who we are today. A lot of us are mixed.
Yeah. And having a healthy culture doesn't mean shutting that down, I think, but it does mean like maybe having difficult conversations with each other and learning from each other, and like go into the mess to make everything more beautiful rather than like shut down and shut people out.
Mm-hmm.
I think like, yeah, there's just like being a part of a living culture means that we get to tend to and care for it. And it's not a piece of jam in a jar that is preserved.
Yeah, that's a
It's,
good way to put it.
yeah, it's alive and we take care of it. And ultimately, what our culture is us, how we're in relation with the land, the water, the sila, the people, everything on the earth and the cosmos. That's what makes us who we are. And that's in our values and in our actions. And that applies to all of our relationships. And I think that a lot of the time we're just careless with like moving without intention. I know I catch myself and have to remind myself all the time about my intention.
Maybe that's what makes you such a good ambassador.
Wow.
Just you traveling the world and doing all these like amazing things in Indigenous art and in amazing places. And I always feel like you're such a good ambassador.
That's what I like when it comes to like people are hard on me and critique me, and never to my face. But I'm using what I have been given, my skills, and my parents decided that my brothers and I would be schooled in the South and in Montreal so that we would have a certain kind of relationship with knowledge and also proximity to this world. And I used that, and I think my brothers too use our position so that we can like be a good members of our culture, even living in Montreal and away from home. Use our skills that we have for the benefit of everyone.
Exactly.
And so my life looks different than a lot of people, but I'm using the tools that I have the best way I know how for myself and for my community.
Well,
That's what
that's
I
what I
do every
responded.
day.
That's what I responded to exactly in a profound and deeply meaningful way. That's what I responded to through your art and also through you as a person. Um, we're both away from our home territories, living away from them for a long time, and trying as much as we can to provide for our culture and our people and the health and well-being um, of those places and those people that we come from, and also just that we love so much.
Mhm.
And um, one thing we've talked about since the very beginning is the creation story of the woman who lives below. And when I first met you, we were talking about her and how I was telling you, I feel like so far away from my Inuit homeland and so disconnected because of colonialism. I feel way more like one of her severed fingers um, than anything. But talking to you also helped me understand and feel like there's a place for us living on the outskirts as well. And it's even in our creation story. Like she fell to the bottom of the sea where no Inuit had ever been. And she continued to exist there and provide for the people. And when you told me the meaning of your name, you said, "Hey, I'm really similar. And my name means wayward traveler. And I'm also on the outskirts. And I'm also doing what I can from here."
Yeah, it's true. It's
I,
very true.
yeah. And I feel like we should, I think we deserve more compassion and should have maybe more compassion for just understanding that not everybody has to fulfill every role or hold every place or every part of the responsibility.
Yeah, we each do what we can. And that's another thing that I'm constantly humbled by some of the assumptions that I make about people, and some of the like different feelings that I experience as a human, like jealousy, etc. And I'm always really humbled when I find a moment to ground myself and feel my feelings and remember that there's room for all of us and that we're all doing what we can, and that there's also so many things happening behind the scenes in people's lives in different workplaces, and that that there's always a story to every event, every person that's as old as time. Yes, so patience, compassion.
Yeah, and just how essential that is. Like you said, you're able to do what you do because you're supported and also because you provide support. Like I
It
really
goes
feel,
both ways, I think so much.
yeah, definitely. Like I don't think I would be able to do really anything that I do without having that be part of it. Like it's so not the same as self-made man trope, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's totally not that. I hardly anything would get done without like people to work with you, also people to emotionally support you, also time with yourself to build yourself up. There's so many things that are needed.
Mhm.
There's
And
so many
also what I
things.
really love about like working through things with you and supporting one another is like we're both have very much intuitive um process and just way of being. It's like the knowledge is really coming from an internal place that's really grounded, and it's not coming from outside. It's really like unapologetically coming from inside.
I agree with that so much. I definitely feel that a lot with you. And also, I think it because it's that intuitive level, that an emotional level, I think that you operate on a lot in your work and in who you are. That it's like that's what um I think it's important to connect on emotional levels. I think information is beautiful, but emotions drive us. And I think that's one of the things that's really special about your work, that you're able to like be vulnerable enough to connect, not so much to put yourself in harm's way. And I think that it's really special. And this thing expensive.
I think we're probably coming up on our time.
Yeah, we are.
Um, was there anything that we wanted to share that we didn't get to yet?
I think that we talked about most of it. I do think that one thing we kind of wanted to talk about was, oh, we talked about it. I think we talked about everything.
It's funny to do this because it's for like a conference of people that we can't see that's happening in the future.
It is. So we're time travelers at the very moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me.
It's so beautiful to talk to you every time. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's really special to be able to talk also about our values, because we talk about it every single time. It's like the first thing that we talk about every single time when we're connecting with each other, whether it's like to be working on something or just sharing about something. And I think it's just so important. Like it's so essential to be trying to be Indigenous artists and trying to do things that have an impact and help heal and create more space and just help us transcend and put things right and come back into balance collectively. It's really important to talk about our values as living, same as our cultures are living.
yes. And yeah, I always think it's important to remember that like our values is the most important tool that makes us who we are and what we pass on.
Yeah.
And so it's important to live them.
Ilali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Dechinta.